Emma's Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe podcast.
Hello and welcome to Emma's podcast. I'm like, oh my god! And we're Friday. Yippee-ki-yay! Oh goodness gracious! So in today's podcast, we're going to be talking about borrowing dreams and are you living someone else's vision? Oh yeah, that's a big one. This one, I'm laughing because oh good lordy. So many of us unknowingly shape our lives around the expectation of others, especially parents, partners, society. We pursue career, relationships, or lifestyle that aren't truly ours. So we're going to be talking about that topic, but I'm also inviting all of you to examine which part of your life are you truly authentic and which one they've inherited without question. And I talked about a lot on at the beginning when I started my episodes 900 plus episodes ago. And I talked a lot about it because we're seeing it, okay? I have witnessed it in there as well, yes, in our lives. One of my sister actually, Mommy Dearest, wanted her to become a pharmacist prep. And so my sister did go through, she went over there, she did it, and then it wasn't her calling, but it always been my mom's calling because she was, when she was younger, work at the pharmacist, blah, blah, blah. So the expectation of the parents, and I talked a lot about it, the expectation of parents, they want you to be a lawyer, they want you to be a doctor, they're going to get you there, and you're going to follow their lead until one day you're going to say, I quit that job and I'm just going to open an art studio because this is what I want, this is my calling. So the question is for today, let's examine in your life, in our lives, what is your true authentic self and what has been actually projected on you to do, and how early messages from family, culture, and religion shapes our concepts of success and happiness as well, because that is another thing as well. Again, we are as kids being influenced by our outer world. We're learning, as child we are a sponge, so we are learning from everybody, from parents, aunt, cousin, anybody and everybody, everything. We want to please our parents as well. We want to respect the culture, the religion. We are getting the concepts of success through the eyes of our parents, through the eyes of the people that are close to us. So we relate to the success based on what they assume is success. I know, kind of complex for Friday, isn't it? Maybe I should have waited for Monday for this one. But think about it for a minute. What have you followed based on your outer conditions, including the people that surrounds you? And also the difference between the ego-driven goals and the soul alignment purpose, because there is a battle, an internal battle. At the beginning, we don't see it, but and I said that before, when you reach about 40, then this is where things are changing. So in your 20s, in your 30s, you may be going one way, and in your 40s, you may be going to do a 360 and go a different way. We call it here, to the better word, midlife crisis. Actually, the midlife crisis is when your soul is telling you to shift to go in a different direction because you have your true calling that's becoming louder and louder and louder. So, the midlife crisis in most people is when you let go of what you have been doing your life up till now to the direction where you feel the calling is. That is where life change and take, for the better or worse for some people, take a different direction. Even it sounds crazy because I have somebody who said that a few years ago. Somebody was working in the utility world, and she was high top level executive, and she decided to open a fitness center, and she moved on to be successful at what she was doing because it was her calling. Now, look into your life and see what is truly you. What do you love to do? And see what is the least things you like to do. Maybe the work you're in. Maybe it's not your calling. Maybe be in a space that you don't feel it's yours. You know, the red flag that you are living someone else's dream. You can be burned out. You can be resentful, chronic self-doubt, especially being resentful, angry, very angry, because you've been led to a different direction than you should have. And how to gently unravel all narratives and reclaim your voice. So, that's a good one, this one. Because most people, when they want to reclaim their voices, they're gonna blah everything in somebody else's faces because they have accumulated. It's like it's piling up and piling up and piling up until it blows. We have to understand that as a kid, it's not like you can go and decide whatever you want to do. It's you're following what your parents are getting you to do. You have no say in your education. Some do, but the majority don't. And they follow the expectation of other. Parents have a tendency as well, some parents, not all, to live their dream through their child. So if somebody has not been, let's say, a lawyer, but always wanted to be a lawyer, I take that as an example, then they're going to expect one of their kids to become a lawyer because it's more prestigious, because of this, because of that. So parents want to be proud at the end of the day that their kids are lawyer, doctors, somebody that has a title that makes them above everybody else's, quote unquote. That's from a perspective of parents. And I'm controversial for a minute, so take a breather, people. But you will experience that. In my case, I was lucky in one way. Mommy dearest didn't know what to do with me because I was a lost cause. So she was hoping it will fit somewhere, but she never put her expectation in my face to take one direction or another. Lucky me on this one, the little one took the most in her face. But I did not. I'm laughing because it's kind of hilarious at the end of the day. This is how we deal with stress, people. We start to be sarcastic and we laugh because it's like, holy crap. It's laughable, but it's horrifying for people when they're listening our stories. It's like, holy crap. Well, we survive because we are half crazy. So who cares? We're insanity. But you have to think as a parent, and I think it's the hardest part. You have to let your child decide. Yes, some people are going to say, well, but my child wants to be a garbage driver. Well, let them be. If this is what they want to do, that's their destiny. At the end of the day, your child will be or resentful towards you because you pushed them somewhere they didn't want it to, or you're going to be resentful towards them because they're going to quit their job and do something else and become a hippie. This is their destiny. When you have a child, I know you're carrying it for 9 months and you're going to give it birth and you're there to help them in their life, okay? You're there to guide them. But they're going to fly off the nest. And this is where you have to learn to step back and let them be. And it is a very hard thing to do as a parent. I think more now people are a little bit more open than they were in the old days. In the old days, if your father was a mechanic, then automatically you will become a mechanic, and it was expected of you to become a mechanic and not a baker. These were the norm, that it was from generation to generation passed it down. If you were doing something different, that becomes a problem. But in some cases, the calling is different. So some people will go into the school, do what their parents told them to do, then decide afterwards to take a different direction. They made their commitment to follow what their parents were expecting, then they will turn gently around. The problem is for people who are feeling frustrated, resentful because they are unhappy in a situation where they are, is to be honest in examining ourselves and say where where the um, the struggle is. Is it because it's the job that I did not want it to and I have a calling to do something different? Is it because fill out the blank? Now you can go back to the person and blast their heads off if you wanted to, but it's not going to help to heal and to move on to something else better. At the end of the day, we're the master of our own destiny. And a lot of people having a hard time to understand that, because it's not easy to be open and being realistic on what is being done in our lives. But there is something that we can do, is to course correct. It's never too late to change path, actually. It doesn't matter what you're doing, it's never too late. You can take online classes, you can start business on the side, you can do a lot of things that will help you to move in your life in a better way. That is the key to really help us to change the direction. However, if you have people in your life that are overly controlling, that is where you need to learn to sit down and mindfully let them know you're changing direction. Now, I will wait. When you start to change the direction, I will talk to them after you change the direction, not before, because they will try to MP or change your mind. But there is a lot of frustration and a lot of healing and understanding that we should broke the patterns of what was done before us in order for us to move to a better directions. We all have that generational we call it curse, or we can healing that needs to be done. General curse basically is passing on to one to another. It's passed down from generation to generation. But we can help by healing. Not, if you feel like blasting somebody else, head up, go for it, but it doesn't help. But understanding. And the healing starts within us, actually. It doesn't start with anyone else, it starts within us. And understanding that what was done to you, you're not going to repeat it. So you're breaking the patterns. That's what we're talking about, breaking those patterns and understanding that if you feel being called to one direction, then explore it. You can explore, investigate, so you can figure out what works best for you. We are limitless. As a kid, I observed. I saw the pattern of my parents and I did not want to repeat them. I saw what they were doing. I did not agree with a lot of things that Mommy Dearest was doing. Now, did I fought it? No, I kept quiet. But I went in the direction I wanted to do in silence. That's what I did. Not easy to do every day when you have a very strong parent. I can tell you that. But looking and understanding the past and the trauma and the lack of healing that happened to them, because it wasn't roses and bonbons in their life either. It doesn't give them the right for what they have done, but they have done based on what they knew at the time they have done it. Understanding that having a child, and that child, you want to give them the best. You want to decide for them what is best for them. And in some cases, in a good portion of the cases, it will work. But when it comes down to education, let them explore as well what they would like to do. Not only what your expectations are, but give them room to play and see how they're going to evolve in which direction they want. Yes, there is maybe, you maybe expect to have a little genius on hand, and maybe it's not going to be a genius on hand you're going to have, or an entrepreneur. But people will find themselves, even though we feel sometimes being dictated to do things we don't want to do, or to end up in business or in a profession we don't want to either. As I said, at the end of the day, if it's meant to be, it will work, or it will not, and it will stop at once upon a time. So it is up to us to decide what do we want to do, and observing our life. It's hard as well. I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes we lie to ourselves. We find every freaking excuses in the world to do not see the problem because we don't want to deal with it, or maybe it's too painful, maybe we don't want to face it. But being aware and start to explore, what can I do? What do I like? And start to reach out and see what can I do better, or what profession should I be going? Because maybe you're going to start with one profession and you're going to move to something else entirely. And that's okay as well. It's part of the discovery. It's part of gaining the skill sets that we need to align with our life purpose. Yes, we can be dictated by the ego, by the competition, by whatever it is. But when you really align yourself with your life purpose, with what you want to do, your life's going to change in such a positive way, you're not going to believe it. It is amazing to realize what we can do, how we can rediscover who we are. And this will happen in your lifetime. In the old days, you will work in one place and stay there until you die. You're fine or retired. I shouldn't say you die, but you're retired. But in these days, in today's age, we can become who we want to become. It is our own self who can master and be the master of our own lives. But understanding, healing the trauma, forgiving what has been done so we don't repeat the patterns. Because otherwise we're repeating the patterns, and this is not what we want to do. We don't want the same monkey in the same circus. What we want to do is create something different that will bring value to our lives and to the next generation or the people around us. So think about it. Be honest with yourself. You will see the transformation and the acknowledgement as well. So reflect deeply on your current situation, and it may trigger grief, but also liberation and opportunity to come home to yourself, to ourselves, even if that means starting over. I can talk about it because I just started over. It started by the end of 2023. All right. It's the journey of transformation and starting over. And you know what? It's better to start over, because after you look back at what you have accomplished, and when you start over, maybe you're going to drag your feet first, like, holy crap, I have to do it from scratch. It's like, you know what? 6 months down the road, you're going to turn around and say, holy crap, I am happier than I ever been before. I am in a place where I completely resonate with my own self, with my life purpose, with my soul alignment, and I'm happier than I was before. The price of happiness is infinite. And the price of serenity for our own soul, priceless. So, up to you to decide what you want to do, guys. But I would say do an inventory. Don't look at the blockage or it's going to be hard, but look at what your heart's calling. And I can guarantee everything will line up with you when you are aligned with your life purpose. Seriously. So, and it might take a lifetime to get there, because you need to learn your life lessons. There's a lot of, I would say, how can I say that? How can I say that? Trials and tribulation you're going to have to go through in order to clear up your path. But it is worth every minute of it. and don't have any regrets on what you have learned, because those skill set will come handy sooner or later. Everything I have learned, I'm still using it through these days, and some more. So, all my love, guys, and we'll talk to you later. Have a great weekend. Bye now.
Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe Podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe Podcast. Emma's Universe Podcast.